Assalamu alaikum. In this demo, I will be discussing the development of a Lambda function, in fact two Lambda functions, an S3 bucket, and a Lambda layer using the serverless framework. Now, what exactly is a serverless framework? The serverless framework is essentially a CLI that is used for creating, maintaining, and deploying services and resources with, of course, machine readable configuration files. It allows us to manage code and infrastructure, and it supports a number of programming languages such as Node.js, Python, Java, etc. And we have multiple blocks inside that I'm going to be discussing. All right, so this is my template that I've generated and I'm using. Now I have this would be the name of the cloud formation file that would be formed. The provider is AWS, and the runtime is, I have defined it as Python 3.9, and these are the functions that I'm calling. Hello, and the other function is hi. This is the resource that is going to be created, which is the S3 bucket, and I'm calling this bucket the serverless bucket. And here I'm deploying my layer. Now let me go through the code. All right, so over here I'm essentially asking my code to exclude all of the files by using this wildcard to exclude everything, right? When the package is created, what happens is that this when we run our YAML file, it zips up our files and inside the directories that we define, and then uploads them to uploads them to AWS. Now, what I'm doing is I'm essentially asking it to exclude everything, and it will only include those files and directories that I define myself. Right. For example, if I go into the function called hello, this is my function hello, and the handler is functions /hello. There's a file named functions. Inside we have a function called hello, which is this, right? Simply your first function is executed successfully, and the second, and yes, and I'm only including this file, and in the next one, in the next function inside the function bracket. Inside the function section, there's the next function called hi. The handler is this, where the file name is functions, and inside I'm calling the hi function. This is the function name, right? And okay, this is the layer that I'm not going to deploy the layer over here, because what happens is that this is giving me an error. So I have excluded that, and I'm not including this in the demo right now. And for the package, it will only include the functions that are being called over here. It will only include functions.hi, right? Okay, then this is the resource. In the resources section, we can define a number of resources a number of AWS resources. For example, I can define the DynamoDB. I can define S3. I can define some SNS that is going to be used in my Lambda function, or we need to generate them. For example, in this case, I'm generating an S3 bucket, and I'm gonna be naming it serverless bucket. And this is my layer section, and I am defining a layer which includes the NumPy package. As we can see over here, this is the layer. This is the my file. Inside I have the tools. Inside I have Python, and then the Python contains the folders for NumPy, right? So I'm including this, and I'm including everything inside this package. And I've defined the path to be layers and tools, and I'm defining the compatible runtimes to be Python 3.9, and this is the description. Let us deploy this bucket, this template, and see what happens. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is going to take a minute or two, because it would do the entire packaging, and then it would create a CloudFormation stack, and then it would upload, and then it would zip all those files, and then it would upload those files. So this can take a minute, so I think I'll pause the video for that time. Alright, so the deployment has been done. You can see that our service has been deployed to the stack. The stack is called serverless Lambda dev, as I had called it before. Now let's go to the console. Alright, let's have a look at the Lambda function. and the cloud from, and let's have a look at the S3 bucket that has been formed, that I've created, and also let's also have a look at the cloud function stack that has been created. So going to, okay, you got okay. So looking at the Lambda functions, now let's also have a look at the layers, because I've also defined a layer. Now, okay, these are the functions that I've defined: hello and hi. And this should be running. Okay, so and this is running correctly, and the first function should also be running correctly. Let me test this one. The first function is also running correctly, and let's have a look at the layers. South Python layer serverless. This is the layer that I've defined 2 minutes ago. This is the third version because I've been practicing it beforehand. So this is why this is the third version at the moment, because one of the limitations of using deploying the layer inside the same YAML file inside the same serverless framework as our Lambda functions is that it essentially updates when we create multiple layers. What happens is that it essentially updates. It keeps updating and changing the previous layer. And in order to make new layers, we need to make multiple files. So this is one of the limitations. Okay, so now what happened was I was not able to add the layer over here, because what happened was that when calling the function, I was getting some errors. So for that, when I'm calling the layer inside my functions block, I'm getting some errors. So I've tried to solve it for now, but I'm leaving this for now. When I resolve this, I'm gonna update this. All right. I also need to show you the bucket. So this is my bucket, serverless bucket, and it has been created just a minute ago at 17:11, and the current time is 14. It happened like 3 minutes ago, right? So whatever that I've defined has been executed. And all right. Thank you for listening. Assalamu alaikum.